I can see how if you've gone through this phase yourself, getting like the standard thigh highs, the standard like dolphin athletic shorts, or the skirt, and like a crop top, and just wearing that all the time as like your first foray into feminine clothing, and then moving on from that to an aesthetic that you find to be better for yourself, and then looking back on old like selfies and being like, wow, I didn't really look that great there. And then seeing that in other people and seeing those people in potentially that same position you were in and being like, I feel kind of bad about how I looked back then. So I might accidentally project onto that person those bad feelings about myself. What I try to do is I try to notice that I'm doing that. Like, oh yeah, that person might be going through the same phase as I did. And I feel so much better for having moved past it. You gotta be positive about it. There's no reason to ever give people shit when it comes to fashion over what they decide to wear. Man, there's some shit I could say about this. I forgot about this. I just saw it again on my timeline. This tweet. Because, like, there's a way you can make this tweet and, like, have it be funny. Have it be a joke. Like, haha, don't a lot of trans femmes go through a phase where, like, they don't really know what they're doing with fashion, so they just Amazon Prime some of the basic shit that everybody starts with? Isn't that so funny how that's how a lot of people do that? Like, you can make a joke about it, but this person actually seems to be serious. Like, which is unfortunate. Like, that they apparently think this is a bad thing. They said, I'm glad we all agree this outfit is ugly as fuck. It gives Reddit cross-dresser. So, like, that's how you know it's, like, this is a real statement they're making. Like, this is apparently a bad thing to them. It's not a joke? Evidently not. Which is unfortunate, because you can make a funny joke about this. There's a variety of reasons as to why this is the staple for newer trans femmes just coming out. Like, and I've talked about it on the stream before. The main thing is, like, for one, clothes can be expensive. And that alone is not enough, because, like, you could find cuter clothes than this and, like, put together an outfit and not have it be super expensive. There are ways to do it, but not everybody knows how, especially if they're not into fashion. If you're literally going from being in fucking dude mode as a trans femme to now having to find a more feminine side of your wardrobe, you're not really going to have the fashion know-how to thrift all that shit and yada, 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 and find the more accessible financially options and whatnot. There's already a lot of odds stacked against you. You also aren't very aware of your own aesthetic and what you would like to see for yourself as a feminine person, and experimenting with clothes like this is not easy because shit can get expensive, especially if you buy some shit you're not wearing anymore, or like it didn't turn out well and blah, blah, blah. So, like, that's also an issue. So, like, it's easy to just go along with the shit that you see people wearing all the time, and you're chilling. Another thing is that if there are people who need to be closeted about it, then it's certainly going to be a lot easier to hide, like, a pair of striped thigh highs, this standard fucking skirt, and, like, a single top that matches it, at the very least, from, like, your parents or whoever dependents that you have that might potentially kick you out of the house or abuse you if they find out you're wearing this kind of shit. It's easier to hide that stuff than, like, an entire wardrobe full of feminine shit. I don't think this person is a TERF. Because, like, I've said the same thing in the past, too. Like, I've said that the main thing I would like to see for trans femmes is to experiment with their fashion past this kind of entry-level stuff. But I'm not, like, condemning anybody for doing it, and I'm not condemning anybody for, like, sticking with it if it's what they like. I don't give a fuck. It's your life. But, like, I would want to see people try different shit and, like, chart their own path and not stick with it if it's, like, not exactly what they want. Because, like, when you're out and about and you see somebody wearing an Amazon outfit, like, as a person who went through that phase myself, it's easy to figure out. And it's just, like, for me, it's, like, thinking, wow, this person could look really good in XYZ that isn't this very basic Amazon outfit, and I would love to see them do that. It comes from, like, a sense of, holy shit, you could look pog in whatever XYZ outfit. That would be, like, similar to that aesthetic. If you had, like, the information, the resources, the ability to experiment with it, all that kind of shit. And that's, like, how I look at it. It's like how I see people out in the wilderness who have, like, obviously curly or wavy hair that they're not taking care of in the best way. And it's like, it looks super frizzy and it doesn't look as good as it could. Like, there's a part of me in me that's like, wow, I used to be in that position. Their hair could look so nice if they did XYZ when it came to taking care of it. And it would probably be easier to manage too. Like, that's what goes through my brain. Not like, wow, this person, they don't know how to do their hair. Come on. Like, it's like, oh my god, that hair could look so fucking nice. In my subjective opinion, maybe they really like it. I don't fucking know. But like, in my subjective opinion, because I've gone through a similar process of figuring out how to do my hair correctly for my hair type and my hair texture to get it to where it's looking like this, which is probably still not as good as it could be, but it's at least it's looking decent. I'm happy with it. It's like, wow, that hair could look so good if you just changed these things about what you're probably doing with your hair, because this shit is never taught to people, especially trans femmes. Like, even fucking, there are cis women out there that don't take care of their hair in the best way possible because they're just not taught that. A lot of people aren't going to be taught this in school, and if you are going to be taught it, it's probably going to be by your parents, and if your parents don't understand how to take care of their hair, then they're not going to be able to pass that information on to you, and if you don't care enough to look online about it, or if you don't know where to look online for it, or blah, blah, or if you don't even know it's an option, then you're not going to know. It's the same thing for your clothing aesthetic. You're not taught how to do any of this shit. You have to figure it out yourself. Now, obviously, being like a cis woman, you're kind of railroaded into a certain aesthetic, and this is how girls are supposed to look by society, and all this kind of shit. So it becomes, I guess, easier, quote unquote, for the people that fit that aesthetic to be able to follow along with that path. But for one, not all cis women do. And you go through a similar process of learning what your shit is, what your aesthetic is. But, like, they can still struggle with it because nobody's fucking taught this shit. And frankly, it's hard to teach people this stuff because everybody's aesthetic preferences are their own subjective opinions of what they like to see themselves as. So it's not really easy to teach somebody that. It requires a lot of experimentation. Now, you could point people in certain directions and be like, oh, well, I think this would look good or that would look good. Well, here's how to get these clothes at a discounted price and all this kind of shit. Like, it's just not easy. So I don't know. Like, I can see, not in, like, the disparaging way, but, like, I can see how, I'm assuming this person's a trans person. I'm trans femme myself. I can see how, if you've gone through this phase yourself, and I'm speaking about my experience here. I don't know if this is their experience. It's possible. But I can see how going through that experience yourself, getting, like, the standard thigh highs, the standard, like, dolphin athletic shorts, or the skirt, and, like, a crop top, or, like, an oversized hoodie, and just wearing that all the time as, like, your first foray into feminine clothing. And then moving on from that to an aesthetic that you find to be better for yourself, that you're more comfortable in after you've done that experimentation, after you've looked into and gotten these different clothing pieces over the time that you've been doing it, especially if you don't have a lot of money. Finally finding that aesthetic and then looking back on old, like, selfies of yourself and being like, wow, I didn't really look that great there. I look so much better now, and I'm happy for that. And then seeing that in other people and seeing those people in potentially that same position you were in and being like, wow, I feel kind of bad about how I looked back then. So I might accidentally project onto that person those bad feelings about myself. Now, there's no way for me to know that that's what's happening here. I have no idea. That's happened to me, though. But what I try to do is I try to notice that I'm doing that. Like, oh yeah, that person might be going through the same phase as I did. And I feel so much better for having moved past it. But, like, I don't know if that person is having that experience. So I try to notice that and then parlay that energy into, wow, this person could look so good in this outfit. Or, like, if they tried this kind of thing, they could look so nice in it. Instead of, like, wow, look at that person. They look bad because they're wearing the same Amazon Prime outfit. It's giving cross-dresser on Reddit, sweaty. Like, you gotta be positive about it. Like, there's no reason to ever give people shit when it comes to fashion if they're not hurting anybody over what they decide to wear. Like, I can't seeing somebody's aesthetic sensibilities when it comes to fashion and, like, feeling like I should approach that person negatively. The only thing I can think of is, like, that person could look all really good in this, and maybe they're going through this phase that I was in before, and if they move past it, it could be super poggers, but maybe they like it too. I don't fucking know. Who gives a shit? What's up? Yeah. It's just dumb. But yeah, because, like, I can look back at selfies that I have, and they're still available. They're still out there. Like, every time I look at a really old clip of mine, I'm like, wow, I know how to do my hair so much better now. And the clothes I'm wearing, and not even just that, like, when it comes to my aesthetic presentation, my camera positioning is part of that. My lighting is part of that. My camera settings are part of that, like my color balance. All of those things have improved. And I could look back, like, a couple months and be like, it's so much better now. And, like, I could feel bad about that. But I can also feel good about where I'm at now. And then I can look back, like, months from now, if I improve any element of that. I can look back at literally exactly this moment in time of me talking to you right now on the day of our Lord, May 13th at 3 a.m., 2023, and be like, hell yeah, I look so much better now because of XYZ that I'm doing. Maybe I can use this information to help others. So, like, it's possible that this comment, it could come from a place of, like, I want to help these other people, but the way that you've decided to go about it is just not great. And because of this follow-up comment, pretty shit. So I don't know. Like, if I ever get off my lazy ass and, like, get that brow lift I've been talking about to kind of fix my deep-set eyes a little bit, and the fact that this eye is, like, hooded slightly, this eyelid, and it doesn't look that great, especially with when I'm wearing eyeliner, because it's very obvious. Or if I get off my lazy ass and start learning how to do full face makeup, or at least even more than just eyeliner, I'm sure there are comments that could be made about me from other trans femmes who are really good at makeup who'd be like, look at this person, they only do eyeliner. Why is that? Are they bad at other makeup? Or they could look at that and be like, oh, this person could look so good with XYZ makeup technique. You know? That would be awesome if they looked into doing that, right? Like, there are different ways to approach this kind of shit. Are you still taking hormones? No, I've renounced my hedonistic ways, and I am back to being a cis female. No longer taking testosterone. Yeah, I'm still on E. I have no intentions of getting off the train. Anyway, it's lame, and this post is getting a lot of shit for it. As they should. I just, you know, I've got too much empathy in me. That's my problem. That's my fucking problem. You know what I mean? And I'm too modest. Frankly, I'm too kind to other people. This video is Connor Callout as Redneck Zella. Thanks so much for the support, and congrats on your first win. If you would like to be the next Connor Callout, all you gotta do is follow me on Twitter, @ConnorCC. Retweet my video links when they go live. Remember to subscribe to the channel. Put all notifications on when you fucking do that. Hit the like if you'd like. Comment something down below about how I consistently forget what the next video is going to be about until right now, when it's about how trans femmes, when they're going through their second puberty, should be allowed to wear whatever the fuck they want. And it might be cringe. Maybe they move past it. Maybe they don't. It's all good. Nobody should give a shit. Bye.